Welcome to the Home Group Podcast, where we discuss everything addiction, recovery, mental health. I am Flip.
And I am Luke. Our generation of men, you're not allowed to have feelings.
We're going to talk about things that are uncomfortable, things that are scary, because when you talk about it, you take away its power.
The only thing that's going to keep me clean is me not wanting to be who I was then.
We was in the trenches, now look how we out here ballin'. Popped up in the max, now we floating.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Home Group Podcast. Flip, clean date, April Fools, 2016.
Luke, clean date, October 11th, 2017.
Sonny, clean date, September 15th, 2022.
Oh, wait.
We got
Got a newcomer
got a
in the
hot
house.
one here. Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Coming live from Sugar Studios.
Sugar Studios. We are in Sonny's sneaker room right now.
Definitely don't look like my sneaker room.
No.
Mine looks like a walk-in closet.
That's actually where we do our podcast normally.
Absolutely. Got a nice little setup. Appreciate the accommodations.
Yeah.
This is just what we do. You know what I mean? I got, some roughage, some decor, mugs. We got the mugs. Gave everyone a mug.
Sonny had a complete setup with ice water bowl with washcloths in it, a honey,
Ice rags for your skin.
Just an industry.
Industry standard. You keep saying that.
liquid honey throat lozenge
No.
Coats
to get
the throat.
our voice
Mariah
cords
Carey
prepped up.
Does it.
Right, Carrie does it. All right.
Okay.
So there we are.
Yeah.
So, Sonny, we do a little life check-in. Just kind of, what's been going on, what's new, what's good, what's bad, how you feeling. If you don't want to start, I'll turn it over to Luke.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm kind of like just...
Feeling your way?
I'm on the tail.
Okay. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to let Luke start because he always says that I don't go.
Yeah,
so I'm going to go.
Maybe you to go ahead and start.
I
Okay.
watched the last one, and it seemed like you just were never given the opportunity to go. It kind of like, ooh,
Luke
just kind of steamrolled you. I'm just...
Sugar Studios,
Wow,
boy.
this little
What's
jar of secrets got some things in
He's
it.
really going in, huh?
Yep. So I just got back from a cruise. Went down to the Bahamas. And that was Silas.
Silas,
I mean, listen, Ella came in on one of the pods. It's parts of the course.
This is what happens to sugar.
Absolutely.
It's sugar, I call it.
Absolutely. So I just got back from the Bahamas and went down there with my wife, celebrate our second wedding anniversary, which is actually today, our wedding anniversary. Swam with some dolphins.
Flip kissed a dolphin. Go ahead. Sorry.
I kissed a dolphin.
Kissed
dude.
a dolphin.
And I liked it. Mouth.
On porpoise.
Okay. There it is. I danced with the dolphin. I hugged the dolphin. Dolphin pushed me on a boogie board, and I kissed the dolphin. And I'm okay with it. And it's okay that his name was Billy Willy, the dolphin, because he's so silly. That's what the trainer said. That's Billy Willy, because he's so silly. And it was an incredible experience, being able to be in their environment, you know what I mean? And just swimming with dolphins, dude. That's what we do. We have fun in recovery. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
So that's what's going on with me.
What a treat. What's a dolphin hug like?
It's right there, right on the right side. Lays his head.
Fins?
Fins? Yeah, fins. Right there. And
Did you feel like he was just like trying to like...
I touch his dorsal fin.
Okay, life check-in for me.
I touch his dorsal fin.
Is that
Do
the
you-
willy?
no, do you-
Is that the willy
No.
part of it?
No, but I feel like it is. I feel like that's like a sacred place. I learned
Do you think
that the dorsal fin is... Every dolphin's dorsal fin is like a human fingerprint. No two are alike.
No way.
Yeah.
Do you think he was just like hugging you because that was just like his job? Or do you think there was something there, like he felt something?
Nah, there was something there. We had a
For
connection.
real?
Yeah.
It's like,
Willy
seriously?
and me. Yeah, no. That was like, that's my spirit animal.
Dang.
Got a new appreciation for life.
Yeah.
He was just so happy. And here's the thing, right? You look at, because I saw that Blackfish documentary.
Of course.
Wasn't sure if I was ever going to be the same. You know what I mean? But like, genuinely, the dolphin was happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what I found out was they have 23 dolphins there. 21 of them born in captivity. So that's all they know. You know what I mean?
Just giving hugs.
Which, of course, the first thing that I
people on
thought,
vacation.
the first thing that came to my mind, and she said, ask questions.
Yeah.
So you only had 2 from the outside. Now y'all got 23.
Damn.
Dolphins were getting it in.
Dang.
Yeah,
That's wild,
busy.
boy.
Yeah. So that's what's going on with me.
Dang. I had my spirit animal was an orca whale. And Sonny knows this, speaking of blackfish, because
Free Willy.
Free Willy, boy.
Hey.
When we went to... Oh, man.
Hey, he might start crying.
Don't-
I'm just saying,
don't
you
do-
get him going out Free
No,
Willy,
no.
it's, you never know where it's going to end.
No, don't do that.
What?
Hold me like a river of Jordan.
Over the finger. Water.
Nah, we went... I had a little stuffed
curve,
orca
yeah.
whale, and Sonny...
That wasn't me.
Yeah, it was. We went to my grandmother's
I know what you're
house.
doing
We were
right
at
now, and that
we
was
were at
not me.
Graham's house, who's still alive, by the way, 91 years old. Shout out Graham's, man.
Yeah.
OG.
Yeah, OG in the game. So we went there, and we were coming back, and Sonny said, "You can't take him with you." Sonny said, "You have to leave him in Florida.
Can't check. Can't check an orca.
Can't check the whale. It was my stuffed animal that I slept with every night."
Big one. About as big as his desk.
And I wanted to get into a fist fight with him, but I was so much littler than him that, I couldn't really do much. It was a very traumatic experience for me. I'll never forget it.
So what'd you do with the whale?
It was a lie.
Yeah, I ended up bringing it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure if you had to leave it or.
Yeah, I never really thought about it, though.
No, you didn't bring it.
I left it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you couldn't.
Feel
It's
like-
the size of a naval torpedo, this thing, dude. I'm telling you.
It was
big.
It was one of them big ones. You know what I mean? I remember I woke up for Christmas. That thing was on the couch, man. I was like, oh my
It
God.
was a life changer.
I made it, dude. Like, this was everything I've ever dreamed of. I got a whale the size of a bus on the couch. I mean,
Yeah.
it was dwarfing the couch, dude. Like, it was nice. So life check-in for me. I quit vaping. So
How long?
it's been 3 days.
Wow.
I've chewed my fingers down to about the second knuckle. And, I'm on the Nicorette. I'm on the gum.
How's that working out for you?
Mouth hurts pretty bad.
Yeah, it'll get
Par
you.
for the course.
Yeah, mouth hurts. Jaw is killing me. Other than that, I mean, life is pretty good.
I need my lozenger back. Get it.
What's that?
It's a lozenger.
Okay.
Clean date, April 24th. April 25th. What's tomorrow? He gave it to me.
All right.
So what's going on? Life check-in.
check-in.
When you stand up, when you're looking at me, and then you go like this, I feel
Slouch.
like you're trying to tell me,
Yeah, you're
like
got
without telling me, like,
got
hey, you got some of the poorest posture I've ever seen.
Yeah, you got
You
them
know what I
Ninja
mean?
Turtles out there. I feel like Master Splinter right now, dude. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
the... You know what I mean? It's a
Raphael and
boss
Leonardo
level.
look so much bigger. Because you, man,
All right. Life
No,
check-in.
We're not
that
deflecting.
was a cutscene.
No, that's making it real.
As we seen, my clean date is last year. I got 7 months, 7.5 months.
How much clean
And
time
I'm
you
in
had
the-
before that?
9 years.
9 years.
Yeah.
Oh, almost a decade. Knocking on the door of a decade.
I was close. To the I wanted the X. The X medallion, I wanted it so bad. I gotta say, how'd you do it? At the end, the X gonna give it to you. I've been planning it for 10 years. I've been planning that, man, and there's always another one.
yeah.
No, things are strange right now, man. Life is strange. Work is strange. I got some strange things happening. I don't know how deep we want to get into all that, but I could just say, like, I think I am a little bit more overwhelmed than probably I should be. And I think that does have something to do with, I'm still in, like, bounce back mentality. You know what I mean? So,
Our first year's
everything
tough.
just feels like dodging
Oh.
bullets. You know what I mean? And, like, small bullet feels like a Scud missile. So,
You remember the first year on that 9-piece that you had?
yeah.
Do you?
Year 1 of the 9?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Is this one better?
Yeah. Well, it's weird because it's perspective, though.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? That first year, for a large chunk of it, I was on Dad's couch.
Yeah.
I ended up
We used to go to Burlington.
We
used to go to Burlington once a week and
I live for the Burlington trips.
get a fresh shirt. You know what I mean? Fresh outfit. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. You know, because we didn't have money like that.
Yeah.
So it's definitely perspective.
I got one of the hats I bought. I was with you.
Yeah.
When I bought it. It's a Ninja Turtle hat.
I mean,
it's a gift from Sugar Studios. I'll give it.
I know the hat.
Yeah.
It used to sit right here in this closet.
I moved them out of there. I did some rearranging.
When me and Mom were living in this room together on a couple cots.
That was a jam.
That was a good time. It's probably
Yeah.
some of the best times of my life, living in here with my mom.
I mean, listen, it's, you know, it's true what they say, right? Is like, you never know how good you had it,
Right.
right? And when things were so simple, because I remember Haley, Sonny's wife, used to pick him up, pick me up. We'd go to a meeting, go to Burlington. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Have some, like, we'd splurge and like go to Tijuana Flats. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah, but now we have responsibilities. We have bills.
Tuesday.
You know what I mean? So it's
Times were tough.
Oh yeah,
It was a financial grind back then.
Yeah,
We were in the paint.
yeah. But
Applebee's
But would you say
by Hollywood 20.
I still have that picture? That picture. Remember
I
when
was
I
just
got
looking at it.
when I got dressed up in the suit?
You had the shades on.
Yep, yep.
We were at the table, and I was doing this.
So embarrassing. Yep, yep. Do you remember why I put on
You
that
sent
suit?
me. Yeah. You
Do you
sent me.
remember why I
that
put
pic.
on that suit?
It wasn't. It was a vest only. It wasn't the suit.
Oh no, you sent
The
me
dress shirt.
Yeah, you sent me that picture.
I had a dress shirt with the vest.
You were doing a boss thing. What was it? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
I was trying to impress a female that worked at Tijuana Flats, and I made it out like I was this like.
I remember that.
I was
You
this-
were shooting. I'm talking about rapid fire machine gun every time we were there, dude. To where halfway through the appetizer, it almost became too much. You know what I mean? But I was in it to win it.
no,
So
we
I
was
thank
fucking
God.
in it.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, we were so just entrenched.
I almost remember her name. Something with an A. But you were. I'm telling you.
Yeah, no,
was
it was
bad.
yeah, no, it was out of control. You know what I mean? But then you look at it, right? Was life really more difficult back then, or is it? I think it's new challenges. It's all
Yeah,
perspective,
it's perspective.
and we
It's
actually
what they call them Cadillac
Cadillac
problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something that we wanted to talk about, and it just kind of rolls right into it, is complacency and recovery. Because it's a big thing. You know what I mean? I think, and I don't know, I'm assuming here, right? But you had 9 years clean.
Hang on, let me Google complacency real quick.
Hang on, because you know what's crazy?
All right, go ahead.
I did.
What?
I Googled, and before you do that, no, go ahead and do it. We're going to go on a journey, because you told me earlier,
Yeah.
said, oh, we might talk about this or that. And
Okay.
you said complacency. I wanted to look it up just so I knew kind of.
But you knew.
I thought I knew.
Okay.
And here's what's funny.
Okay.
Is that I didn't know.
Okay.
And I started looking at synonyms.
I'm going to tell you what I thought it meant, and then I'll tell you what it actually means.
Well, I think we all thought it meant the same thing, and it kind of does, which is like just losing sight of the big picture, right?
Right.
Okay.
Getting lazy, lackadaisical.
It actually means like you're satisfied
Yeah.
to the point of like you don't need to focus on it anymore.
Yeah.
So it is like you're not focusing on it anymore, but more so because
You made it.
egotistical is a synonym. I went to thesaurus.com. I didn't know this was a thing. And it'll give you all the synonyms, and then you click on one, and it'll pull up the synonyms for that, and you click on it, and I went down a synonym rabbit hole.
Synonym rabbit hole.
By the end of it, dude, it
synonym
was like pretentious. But it was so bad. I was like, oh my God.
So it's incredibly relevant, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
and it's showed up in my life at times. I'm sure it showed up in your recovery journey, yours as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my question is, I mean, do you remember your mindset prior to your trip, right? Where you went back out? Like, were you doing things for your recovery? You know?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
In all fairness, I asked you if we were going to talk, if it was okay if we talked about this. Is that what we're doing?
I don't even got coffee in my cup, bro. My thing's been empty for the last 10 minutes, dog.
But this is prevalent in recovery, and a lot of people struggle with it, right? I mean, I have 7 years, right? And outside of being asked to speak, right, I go into my rehab, and you know, that helps me. A majority of everybody that I talk to is in recovery. My wife's in recovery. My life is basically centered around recovery, but I'm not going to meetings like I was in the beginning.
I don't know. What you're doing now and what you've been doing with holding that commitment and what you're doing is a night and day difference from what I was doing leading up to the trip.
Yeah.
As you put it. It was a trip. Yeah, no, I was doing none of that. I will say this, and this goes back to kind of what you were saying. The first several years of that stretch I put together, I was doing all that. And like the service, you know, the detox, I think you went in there with me a couple times. There's another program at Choices, the Sally. I was doing all that. I lived for that. You know what I mean? Like, that was it. That was like the epitome of like what I was getting out of recovery. I felt so good about it. I wasn't even going to meetings, period. Towards the end, like I picked up my medallion. See,
somebody would always
see
say,
2023.
"Oh, Sonny, are you celebrating? What are you doing here?"
Oh, it would get to the point that, you know what's weird is like, if you detach from meetings and like the rooms and the fellowship for long enough, and then you hop back in, you only recognize a few faces, and they don't recognize you. And you know me, and I think that's how we are. I'm like, oh my God, they're like, who is this dude? Does he even belong here? You know what I mean? But like, I'd been doing this, and then in my head, I'm like, I don't remember you. You weren't here when I was, you know, in here ruffling my peacock feathers, fellow. Like, do you belong here? And then I go sit sweaty in a corner and wait for the key tag. You know what I mean? And I'm out. I will say this though, since I bounced back from the trip, and we can get more into that. Like, we can dig. We can go deep.
Yeah, we're gonna dig.
Oh, we're digging.
I mean, we're almost out of time, but
No. Not even close. We cut life check-in. Normally we're still going to life check-in. So let's talk about this trip. What happened?
Look, we got 30 seconds, dude.
What's this trip you're talking about?
Yeah.
So I did get complacent, right? And look, I think that, and once I sat in the kitchen while I was brewing a carafe of fine grain for the team, and I Googled complacent, and then it all started to click, and I said, wow, that's deep. Because I was satisfied, like I got in the mentality like, oh, I got the fellowship served a purpose for me, and it did it effectively, and I appreciate it. You know what I mean? I'll come and check in and like do my due diligence like just as much as I need to, which was, you know, maybe one every few months, and then my medallion, and I did that for a few years. But it was because I was complacent.
Yeah.
Satisfied. I was okay. Got what I came for. You know, which is a story as old as time in this thing. And I'll tell you what. I went on a trip. I knew maybe something's about to shake out here. Like, I felt it. And I was like, I've made some calls to some people. Like, close. And I was, hey, this is like...
Where did you get a call?
No, I didn't.
You weren't going.
Oh, no.
To people that were going.
Oh, yeah, no, I got a call, all right.
Oh, God.
For sure. I definitely got a call, and it went like
Hotel
this.
security.
I made some calls.
Luke, I fucked up. I'm stuck in this hotel room, man, and I'm just going to have to let it run its course, brother.
You were at the proverbial crossroads prior to that trip, leading up to that trip. You were at that crossroads.
I wasn't, though. That's what was crazy about it, is... I wasn't at a crossroads. I was so mentally like far from committing to doing anything like that, I had actually like counteracted it by making sure I wasn't gonna. And you know, literally within an hour and a half was touchdown, field goal, like, and
he's off.
The clock was running.
Yeah.
It was bad. Yeah. Went from 0 to 20 million. Did not trickle in.
So I'm curious about something, right? Because I had 3 years prior to my relapse, but I was detached from recovery at that point, right? My, I guess, thought process is because even though you were somewhat detached, a majority of people that you talk to are in recovery. Almost everybody that was on that trip was in recovery. So my question to you is, you get high, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there instant guilt and shame? Is there like what was going through your mind?
That's a good question. Yeah. Yes. Yes. No, yeah, there was. It was instant, but it was quickly shadowed with hunger for more. Like it was. I'm talking about like I never stopped.
That obsession.
Oh my God!
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't that
9
quick?
years.
Yeah,
9
man.
years away from it. You fed that beast just a little bit, and it was
Broke through the shackles.
Immediately. I said,
Yeah.
immediately stuck. Like, but I admit, leading up to it was what was. It was a real. I'm talking about warfare. It was warfare.
I
leading up to it.
actually heard a story from one of the guys who didn't relapse out there, and he caught up to you outside. You were getting in the back of like a taxi or a Uber or
We could call
something.
it that. Yeah.
And he was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And you looked at him and said, "You don't want no part of this."
Yeah.
I said, stay away from me for the rest of the trip. With my sunshades on. Like, hey. Bad. Yeah, no, and that was the thing, like, a select group of people started just bouncing a bad idea around, and next thing you know, like, the idea became tangible, and I'm talking about, it was a life-altering. I've been going to, and you two, and you've been going for a chunk now too, but I've been going to meetings and stuff for a long time, and I've never seen one, like, I'm going to call it one relapse, because it was, multiple people involved, cause, aside from someone dying, like, be so apocalyptic.
Yeah,
I'm talking about, it was
life altering.
decades of clean time.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah, without getting too, like, like, a lot of people...
Well, you know, Boston Chuck tells me all the time, he's like, just because we're clean, we're still, and he uses the metaphor of walking around with a gallon of gas, smoking a cigarette. We're all taking time bombs.
Love
We're all,
Boston Chuck.
Yeah. We're all one poor decision away from having life-altering consequences, right? And that was incredibly apocalyptic, as you put it. I mean, forever life's changed, right?
Multiple people, not just the people that went.
And that's
But-
the thing,
but
the
some
shockwave
for-
started before I even got back,
And-
when I started getting calls from Luke and everyone.
Oh, what
You
you
know
talking
what
about?
I mean?
I sent you fake pictures of the airport,
Yeah.
telling you we're about to board planes.
But what you didn't know is Flip actually researched the hotel and the hotel number, and I was actually really about to buy a plane ticket.
I'd already
out there.
cycled through 3 rooms by the time
and
I
here's-
made sure that there was no, you couldn't sniff me out.
And here's the thing, dude. I brought it by Wanda. And she said...
Well, now Wanda's
I-
a tracker.
She said...
Ironically enough, as he's having this conversation, I'm having another conversation.
She said, What, you don't have a family of your own? Like, you're going to go out there and try to rescue your brother when obviously he's going through some things right now. He might not even be ready to be rescued. Don't save him. He don't want to be saved. You know what I mean?
So listen, Luke and I are to the point. I'm at work. I step outside. I call the hotel. I try to get patched through. They're like, the iPad's unplugged. Because there was iPads, I guess, that was your phone in the room. They're like, it's disconnected. You can't get through.
That thing was tripping me out.
Yeah. And,
What's going on? Hey, I'm talking about...
And so I call Luke and I said, listen, if we don't get some word, we're going to fly out there, right? And so I get home from work. I call Boston Chuck.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, this is what's going on. Me and Luke are about to hop on a flight. He said, and what the fuck are you gonna do?
Never come back.
He said, so let me get this straight. He said, you and your buddy are gonna go out there and try to rescue 6 people who are absolute tornadoes right now.
Yeah.
He said, they got a better chance of getting you high than you got to getting them clean. He said, if you want to fly, meet them in like Dallas, Fort Worth or something. You know, meet them on a connecting flight. Yeah. If you really have to go out there.
Not where ground zero
and
is.
so I literally hang up the phone with him and I call Luke. And I said, I don't know, man. He said, I just had a talk with Wanda. Yeah. And I said, I just had a talk with Boston Chuck. And they basically both said the same thing. Yeah. Y'all are fucking crazy.
Catch you on your way back.
Yeah. But it didn't do horrible things in people's lives, right? Not all horrible. Like, it restarted your recovery. With me, I didn't have a sponsor for the first 5 years of my recovery, right? When the day you got back, Ryan came over. Shout out Ryan.
Ryan saved a...
Ryan came over.
Might be dead without Ryan.
Haley was going completely, insane, which is justified, completely justified. And, Ryan
I was tucked in the room. And I was just listening. I could hear Ryan like, hey.
He was like mediating the whole thing.
I was like, oh, do it, guys. Save
me and him.
Please.
So with that, and that's the first time like I had ever really sat down with Ryan and talked to him. And at that point, I was like, hey, man, can you help me work through these steps? And I decided to get a sponsor there. Because going back out was one of my reservations. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It was you going back out, because if you couldn't do it, and with you being the pillar of recovery that I've known you to be this whole time, through everybody relapsing in our family, through everybody at work relapsing, you going back out would show me there's no way that I could do it. And my mind was already made up. If you went back out, that was it for me. There's no way that I could do it. But we had already made it through our mom passing. Yeah. So when you made it through that, I was like, well, we're good. We got this, right?
That was the biggest reservation.
Yeah, that was, if that ever happened, for sure. And we made it through that. And then when you went back out, it was like, all right, well.
It's so crazy, though, right? Like, and I can only speak from my experience, but, like, the reservations that I had, I got through them. And looking back, getting high wasn't even an option. You know what I mean? It really wasn't as big of a reservation as I thought it was. And so, what I will say is your venture to the dark side of the moon, right, did have a lot of good in the community because, I mean, listen, we were a whole crew of people that normally weren't at meetings, that only went to meetings every once in a while. All of a sudden, we're at meetings everry day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That kick-started everything.
Oh, like they say, like the literature says, it's sometimes that jarring experience. Yeah. You know, and I will say this, like, the one person that was affected the most by this, in a good way, was me. You know what I mean? That's a selfish perspective on it.
But it's a selfish program.
It is a selfish program.
It's a collateral perspective on it. You know what I mean? Because I can't help but focus on, like, the negative that it caused. Like, you know, people are still, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, my wife is, hey, that's something where I'll be wearing that one for a minute.
I coated my mouth with some of that honey. I ain't even been able to taste anything.
Another lozenger?
You want another one?
I'm fresh.
Are you through?
I'm a newcomer, dude. Pass me a lozenger. Don't make a scene on
the
air, dude. Like, what's going on?
God bless.
No, they do say that it's a jarring experience, and it is, and not only myself, but it did jar a lot of people around me too. You know what I mean? Like Luke, he was always he knew about it. Like, look, him and I grew up around addiction and recovery, and he knows recovery. He knows addiction. He always knew recovery. You know, we grew up in meetings, but he was never committed. You know,
Ever.
And that's the thing. Out of our family, the only people that were my father was once, like I said, we grew up in meetings. Mom and Dad, they were heavy in meetings. But the only people that were like really actively trying to work a program was me and my mother at one point. You know what I mean? And Luke he knew about it, but
I was in and out of jail
not
a lot. In and out of prison.
I wouldn't even call it jail. Like, let's not minimize it here. Like, he's doing state time. You know what I mean? Like, all the way up the road.
Oh, yeah.
Long enough that he's getting transferred. Like, you know what I mean? So,
Okeechobee,
hey.
Madison.
But,
yeah.
And then next thing you know, like he said, boom. Now he's actually doing what the suggestions are. He's going to meetings, he's talking to a sponsor, working the steps, you know, reading literature, like, go figure.
So
Well, I'm still fresh in my recovery. So you got to think, like, I'm coming up on 6 years. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm coming up on 6 years, but like the first 38 months of my recovery, I was in prison behind the gate. So, like, I'm still grinding.
Yeah.
I'm not like, you got a house, you know what I mean? You guys have these material things that comes from recovery. I know that's not the important things. The important things are, like, the bond that you have with your family, your kid.
Right.
Also with you, your kids and stuff.
They are gifts, nothing
and,
less.
like, I'm still grinding for all that stuff right now.
But I think, and I don't know if there is an answer, right? Because it's the unknown. But I think to avoid complacency, you have to continue with that mindset.
Right.
Of still being fresh.
It's,
you know, we talk about it moving, you know, the donkey with the carrot. You got to keep moving that carrot forward, and you got to remain hungry, right? And so the, you know, ultimate question is, how do you remain hungry? You know, in a situation where you're still grinding, right? I can't let off the gas now just because I have a house and because I have a wife and, you know, my kids, and I coach sports, and, like, I have a life that I didn't even think was possible for myself. Now is not the time to kick my feet up and say, okay,
No.
I'm here, because
I'm satisfied.
that's complacency.
Right.
You know? And so what we have to figure is how to keep that hunger alive. And truthfully, that's part of the reason that I love going to the rehab. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it keeps
is
it
because
fresh.
it keeps it fresh.
Right.
You know, when I go in there, you know how they have the black cushion chairs for the speakers, and everybody else is in the hard blue plastic. I still grab a hard blue plastic every time because I don't want to forget. I don't want to forget how uncomfortable that is. You know what I mean?
What that blue steel feels like.
I can't. I don't want to forget how miserable I was.
Yeah.
In there.
You know, Mama always said, always revisit the scene of the crime.
Huh.
You're not supposed to, but it's good to.
It's good to. Right. It's good to in recovery. You revisit the scene of the crime. Revisit that. I always revisit that trap in Northport where I lost my kids, where my marriage started falling apart, where I loaned my car to that dude and he sold it for crack, where I lost the house.
That's
where the police
an A1 play.
Where the police came in and kicked the door in on several occasions. The bombs got.
There was a news story on Luke. I seen
about a couple
potential bomb laboratory.
Yeah,
they did a walkthrough with camera. It was wild.
They put me on a do not fly list. They blacklisted me. I just tried to do a windshield at a MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, and they kicked me off at an Air Force Base.
I remember.
They said, you're not allowed to be on here. I said, why? He said, we can't really discuss that with you. But I looked on the paper, and it said domestic terrorism.
That's wild.
Domestic terrorist.
Yeah.
I was you know what I mean?
You were just a tweaker trying to make some fireworks.
Talk about the wreckage of your past.
Yeah.
6 years later, and I'm getting kicked off of an Air Force Base. I don't even want to be there. You know what I mean? I'm like, come on, guys. Like, can we just, like, figure this out? They had to drive their car off of the Air Force Base, and then I had to explain to them, like, hey, I'm coming back. You know what I mean? I'm changing my life around. Like,
Yeah, no.
I went down there one time to the Northport Traposaurus. This thing was, I'm talking
Let's
about.
get into that.
Yeah.
First of all, it was a nice house.
It was prior to
Deed restricted.
prior to Luke getting into them skibbity pads.
You know, $180,000 house back in 2000 and
in Northport,
16,
which is a lower market too. Some of the shit I seen, it brought me right back. You know what I mean? Talk about revisit the scene. I brought someone with me. Luckily, I brought Bill. Shout out Bill. Luke had a full NASA spaceship launching center in the garage. Okay, with 3. I'm talking about.
I had five NASA engineers working on a
3 in the
washer
garage.
dryer combo pack.
Yeah, and
We were going
They
to
were
the
going
moon.
from the slab up, and they didn't even break. Didn't even break. I'm talking about. Hey.
Locked in. You know how when people when people are
Tinkering.
coding, they're coding some stuff and they're locked in.
Yeah,
You know, they're doing some code. They were coding.
Yeah, coding the motherboard. And Luke, oh, hang on. What are you doing? He runs to the room. I start walking to the room. His door. I had to take a second to look at the construction of this mechanism, but there was a hole cut in the wall and a hole drilled. Wait, how would you?
So I had a 2-inch hole drilled through the wall on the other side of the stud. And
It
then
was
I
through
had-
the stud.
Yeah.
There's a hole through the stud, and we're talking about a chain link fence or a chain metal. I'm not talking about a bike chain. I'm talking about
Heavy
like
duty.
something that would be on a 30-foot anchor,
a yacht.
30-foot yacht anchor.
Yeah. I think it
And
came
it-
off of a boat, actually.
And then it went like right through the middle of his door, which went from the stud to like a cheap like door.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't just punch through the door.
Yeah.
It was the worst. And then there was like a padlock on the inside.
Yeah, it
Or
was
something.
locked. I wasn't getting out of there. The windows were boarded up. I cracked the door open, peeked my little eyes out. Hey, what's up, bro?
And he's trying to keep it cool while I'm there. You know what I mean? I was doing good. This was back in like 2015.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd gotten into my own apartment. I'm grooving. I'm making some decent paper. You know what I mean? And I was down there trying to save old Lucas, and he's trying to be cool and keep normal. He's like, oh yeah, no, I'm not even really doing nothing. He goes to the fridge. He pulls out like week old chicken rotisserie. He's like, I can tell he's trying to force this down. Like he doesn't even want to chew it. Like he's got foam on the corners of his mouth, dude. He's like trying to force himself to eat some.
Yeah.
Some proteins. Bro.
Yeah. That was always my thing. I try to show people like I'm doing good.
Remember the oats?
I could eat something. Yeah.
Watching Luke try to eat oats on crystal meth is one of the
I'm good. I'm eating.
most. That's a jarring experience.
I'm eating.
Hey,
Yeah. You know, and I'm okay with talking about this stuff because it just goes to show you that, you know, a deadbeat, homeless, had a home at the time, wasn't paying for anything, junkie like myself back then, can really actually turn their life around and do something good with it and be the pillar like he was, be the pillar that helps him when he goes back out and make sure that he's going to meetings and, you know, bond our other brother out of jail and to get him going to meetings and stuff. Shout out Jay. Shout out Jay Grant.
hey. Savage.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But like that's ultimately the goal here, right? That's that message of hope that you can pass on to the next person, because guess what? If you think that I'm not as bad as you were or are, you're wrong. Because that story is a good story. That story makes me look good. Okay? Wait till we get into the real hard stuff. Wait till we get into the hurricane stories and stuff like that.
State of emergency.
Burglary during a state of emergency. Robbing kids' bedrooms and stuff.
Remember when your neighbor taught us how to dumpster dive?
Ooh, dumpster diving Ivan? The original garbage pail kid?
No, in Inglewood. At the apartment.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I don't
Billy.
even remember. Billy was his name.
Billy.
Billy.
He was a pro, dude.
Billy
and
the-
it changed my life.
Billy the Kid.
Changed my life.
Dumpster dive.
Times to go, where to go. He
had it
knew the
mapped out.
people.
Me and
They
Sonny.
wouldn't even throw it in the dumpster sometimes for old Billy. They set the cold stuff down for him because they knew.
We lived right down the street from a Goodwill, and we went and, you know, people would like put donations and stuff, bro. Before we knew it, our apartment was.
Statute limitation.
Before we knew it, our apartment
We
was
had a treadmill.
full of just Goodwill donations, bro. And we're going through all this stuff like, yeah, that's worth a couple bucks. Like, let's, you know what I mean? Some of it still had like little price tag stickers on it. We thought we were rich, dog, but we got a couple. This is how not rich we were. This is how poor we were. We found a couple of AutoZone uniforms. And we would put the AutoZone uniforms on and go up to the gas station and say,
hair gel.
hey, this is my... Yeah, we get all souped up, you know what I mean? Looking nice. Couple of AutoZone executives. Hey, we're late for work. We ran out of gas. You think you can help us out with a couple bucks? You know what I mean?
Oh, we were snagging and bagging.
Yeah, up in Jersey, I used to wear a suit and used to say that like I was late for.
How'd that land?
Oh, terrible!
Because I've
I'm
seen you in
86.
active addiction, and
Oh,
it's
God.
you.
Absolutely.
That's Beetlejuice.
For
You
sure.
know what I mean?
For sure. Absolutely. 86 pounds.
Jack Skellington.
Yeah.
Oh
no.
my God.
Yeah. Legitimately.
Right here, baby.
Yeah.
Legitimately. So, you know, it's never good. It worked.
No.
It worked sometimes, you know, but I don't think it worked how I thought it was working.
Oh no, you thought you were.
I thought,
Oh my God.
yeah, I thought like people are like, you know what I mean,
Like
and
the
people are really
confidence
like,
man.
God
Yeah.
bless.
Yeah. It was
Let me-
pity.
Yeah. Oh,
You thought it was... You were
I thought I
invoking
was
confidence.
Yeah, no, I thought I was, you know.
Oh, that's all he's got. What did
Making business
Yeah,
deals.
the rehab gave him that out the clothes closet. That's all he's got left.
Yeah.
God bless him.
Look at
Yeah.
this, look at this crazy homeless dude walking
Yeah.
around. He just probably,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And so it's never good. It's never good. But moving forward, right, we get to share our experience, strength, and hope. We had that one lady who commented, Marilyn, what was her last name?
Golf.
Marilyn Goff. So she is not an addict. She is a mother who is struggling with her son who is in active addiction. And she wanted us to touch on kind of living in that gray area, right? Because we've all been there. We've all been that son where she feels like she's enabling too much. She doesn't know where to draw the line. It's a real gray area because her motherly instincts, right, are kicking in and she wants to help her son.
Of course.
But she feels like she's doing more harm than good, and she just doesn't know how to navigate that terrain, right? And it's something that, for me, I've had experience on both sides, right? Because I was enabled by my mom for a long time, right? And my family. But then I've also been on the flip side where I feel like I've enabled people when I probably shouldn't have.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a
Such a gray area.
it's such a gray area, but I'll say this, right? I have a buddy of mine, and he actually, when the podcast came out, he's a normal person. He saw the episode, and he called me, and he was like, "Listen, man," he said, "we have a mutual friend who's in recovery, out of recovery, you know what I mean? He's in active addiction right now." And he was like, "Dude," he's like, "I don't know what to do anymore. I feel like if I walk away, he's gonna die," right? And I said, and this is the reality, I said, okay, if you walk away and he dies, are you gonna be able to live with yourself easier than if basically you were assisting him in his suicide?
Contribute to it, right.
And that's like, I mean, it might sound harsh, but that's the reality. Because for me, I was not willing to change because, yes, I lost places to live, I lost things, I lost jobs, you know, all of that stuff throughout active addiction, but I always had my family.
You had that fallback.
I always had that. So it was never really that bad.
Right.
Because I knew, you know, when I was in the county, Mama was going to put money on the books. She was going to come up and see me. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Until that last time that I went to jail. And she came up, and I'd never seen this side of her before. And it wasn't nasty, and it wasn't mean, and it wasn't rude. It was just matter of fact. And she said, listen, the family's washed their hands of you. This time's different. Like, it ain't gonna be money on the books. There's not gonna be visits. It's not gonna be all this. Like, this is not enough's enough, right? And I'll never forget leaving that Vizzo and going back to my bunk and just sitting there like, wow, like, so what now? You know what I mean? Because I'd never been put in that position.
Right.
And everything changed. Everything changed from her putting her foot down. You know what I mean? And saying enough's enough. Either figure it out or don't.
Right.
If you want to figure this out, I'll be along for the ride. I ain't playing these games no more. And that was what I assumed the hardest thing that she had to do.
Of course.
You know,
that's got to be horrible.
But if you're going to save somebody's life, sometimes you have to make those tough decisions, those tough calls. Like, listen, I've said it before on here. I had somebody that I got really close with in rehab, and when we got out, I had a plan, and I set that boundary. Listen, I'm really about this recovery. If you're not, that's okay. I have to distance myself from you. It's not that I don't love you or I want to see you succeed, but like, I can't save you. I'm trying to stay alive myself, right? And he messed up, and I took him to detox, and he messed up again. I took him to rehab, and then eventually I said, you know what? Like, you got to figure it out. And I was driving down the road, and I was like, I should call him. I was like, nah, but he'll call me if he's doing the right thing, right? He overdosed and died that night. You know what I mean? And it messed with my head a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, damn, like, if I would have just called him, things would have been different, right? But,
of course, you start having that survivor's guilt.
Yeah, but believe it or not, I got the clarity at his funeral. When I was asked to speak at his funeral, and after the funeral was over, and I walked out and I hugged his mom, right? His grieving mother. And she said, he's not in pain anymore, and you have nothing to feel bad about. Right? And that's his own mom.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Like I know that I did what was best for me. It's a selfish program. It is. As much as I love helping people and you know, doing service, and I have to save my own skin at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And that's why when you go on those trips to try to save your brother, you never go alone, right? When you do 12-step call. We've done a 12-step call on a dude who is no longer here. The dude that did all the art in your apartment. I don't want to say his name because, you know, whatever. But, like, I was there for that. You know, as a matter of fact, that's when I was fresh out of rehab. We were at Rico's and had to go do that. But you never go alone, right? Because you have, if you go solo, you have a better chance of relapsing than you do of saving somebody.
Absolutely.
And that's why that's in place. So, you know, I mean, what are your thoughts for
I'll say this.
Maryland?
I'll say this. And it kind of, I hate to do this as much as I love agreeing with you, Flip.
Okay.
And it's not that I'm disagreeing with you. This is just my own personal experience.
Of course.
While I was out there, my mom never truly gave up on me. The lack of communication was there because the last thing I was trying to do was talk to my mom while I'm getting high out of, you know, embarrassment, and I didn't have any self-worth anymore, and I had nothing to make her proud, because when it boils down to it, all you really want to do is make your mom proud. You know what I mean? And she would still bring me down little snacks and stuff like that whenever she could get a hold of me. And I think she would do that because she never really knew when the last time she was going to see me was. And then when I got locked up, I mean, she was, you know, there for me, dog. Like, she had money on my books, she had phone time, like, she was there for me every step of the way. So, and those are the things that I remember today with her being gone, right? Like, that's when I work my living amends today. you know, that's the stuff that's in the forefront of my mind, is how much she never gave up on me. So I think there is, like you said, it's a gray area. Like, yes, you love somebody from a distance. How much is too much when you're enabling somebody to do that? I get that.
Of course.
But at the same time, I don't think you should ever give up, because, like you said, God forbid something do happen to them. You don't want to be in that situation where, you know, like, oh, I could have seen him one last time.
So let me ask a question then, right? And my mom did not give up, right? But I think that to a certain extent, you have to, and this is just my opinion, right? You have to not be that go-to, not be that I'm coming to save the day every time things are in shambles. Because in active addiction, it is always in shambles.
Well, and I think also, you know, our mom was you know, she ran with us. Like,
of course.
we used to get high with our mom. Like, the biggest form of affection that we could show each other growing up was to make sure that we weren't sick.
So then, do you think that a part of her continuing to do that, I mean, could have been guilt? You know what I mean?
Right.
Could have been like, it could have been a number of things. So,
Well,
I mean,
there's
listen,
a gray area too. So that's the gray area is this big. And
Of
what
course.
you're talking about, your mom was here, our mom was here.
Yeah.
Like it's all in there. You know what I mean?
course.
It's just
absolutely.
So
well,
it's-
there's no. I don't think that there is a necessarily right answer, because not only is each situation different, each person is different.
Person's experience is
right?
different.
I needed my mom to say, "Listen, cut the shit. Enough's enough." And when I was, you know, because I was at Sarasota County, and then I went to Manatee County, and when it was coming up to the end of my bid, she came and saw me, and she said, "So check it out. These are your options. I talked to a halfway house. I'll pay for a month there. If not, you can figure it out." You know what I mean? That's what I needed.
Right.
So she was still there to support the journey, but it was no more, you know, like I said at the rehab tonight, I would call my mom when I was up in Jersey ripping and running. My apartment building burned down. Can you send me some money for a hotel? Like, there was no more games with getting money, right? Like, enough was enough. But I couldn't imagine the love that I have for my kids. I could not imagine being put in that situation.
Give up on,
To have
separate
to,
yourself.
To have to draw that line in the sand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's what my job as a parent is to protect them and to make sure that they are safe and to make sure that they are fed and they have clothes and they have a roof over their head. So it is a when you throw in an addict into that mix, fuck, dude, like, I can't imagine.
addicts are good too.
Oh,
they're gonna
God.
get the pack. You know what I mean? They're gonna find the apartment building did burn down, the whole building. You know what I mean? You need money for the neighbors too. Like, so, our mom was good. Here's what she was good at: was riding the line. Because she wouldn't shoot the pack, she wouldn't shoot the money, but she would make sure she got a pizza delivered.
Oh,
that was her go-to
that
play.
was, bro.
Let me get you a Domino's with a couple lava cakes with it.
Oof.
You know what I mean? So, and what a delicacy that was.
Boy, when you
she
ain't
was-
ate for a week, you get
But
that
oh my
ultimate
God.
pepperoni.
Oh, gut buster,
Ooh-wee.
boy. But no, she would ride the line. It's a very touchy line to ride too.
And listen, not that you can hear somebody's voice in a comment, right? But when I read that comment, like, I felt like the defeat in her writing. I felt the anger, the frustration, the just lost. You know what I mean? And, like, I wish that I could say, this is the answer.
Yeah, this is what you need to do.
But this is what recovery is. There is no, this is the answer. This is the meaning to life. You know what I mean? There is no, it's a series of little things, right? That turn into some clean time, that turn into, you know, a life-changing courses, right? And so, it's one that I don't envy, and I wish nobody had to go through, because Lord knows we put our loved ones through hell.
And also, I was just thinking about it. I have no idea what my mom would have done, because it didn't last very long out there when I was in Northport before I was back in prison again. You know what I mean? So I have no idea if it lasted long enough, if she would have just stopped calling, told me, like, listen, don't contact me, don't, get it together, or don't get it together, whatever it is. Like, I hope I see you on the other side.
Well, see, you have the unique situation that your mom was in recovery. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot, like, my mom was not an addict, was never an addict. You know what I mean? So, like, she's still, and I could be wrong, but from what I read from Marilyn, right, is I don't believe she's an addict, right? And she's just an upset, frustrated mother trying to get some answers. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, it's a gray area.
Yeah, no. I thought of something right when I heard that. And the first I went to, the main speaker, and this was back in 2014, I think. The main speaker said something, and I'll always pull, like, they call them the nuggets, you know what I mean? And it resonated with me because of some shit that was going on around me at the time, especially being that fresh in recovery. Your circle, you don't immediately come in and you're hanging with people that got 20 years, you know what I mean? They've been established and, like, they're doing the thing. I was hanging with newcomers as well. And so everyone, you know what I mean? Their shit, he's falling off. They're doing this, they're doing that. Like, I'm, The main speaker, what he said something that resonated with me, and he said, if you keep giving an addict a pillow, a metaphorical pillow, right? Which is kind of what that enabling entails, they will never recover. Right? So an active addict, or any addict for that matter, right? Like, you can even find them in the rooms too. Keep giving them the pillow, even though they might not be active in addiction. You can still enable, like, a lifestyle that's not conducive towards recovery, and that stuck with me. And that's, I'll tell you a quick. So, and you know about this, our mother. Well, first of all, there was a time in the past where she was the only clean member of our family. You know what I mean? And she did ride the line, like we've talked about, to where, and she was more on the enabling side, but she was not there. You know what I mean? She knew the boundaries on what she could and could not do to, not cross. And she did she was staying at a halfway house down in Port Charlotte. And one time I manipulated my way into the picture, you know what I mean? And I would beg her, like, let me sleep in the halfway house, I'll hide in your room, or this, that, and the third. And she wasn't having it. But then there was a time where I was the only clean member of the family, and I was in rehab, Salvation Army, Center of Hope. And she was coming up there to see me, and man, she was still getting it, you know what I mean? And I had to tell the program director, like, hey, and this was the hardest thing I'd done. Like, still up to this point, it was probably one of the hardest things I'd done in recovery, was I had to tell them to not let her come to the property. And I retreated to my bunk, dude, and, like, I broke down for a long time. Like, I was in bad shape. And then I immediately just started wishing she would call, and, like, you know what I mean? We were thick as thieves, you know what I mean? We were all tight.
Yeah.
But I cut her off from the program. It was like reverse enabling. You know what I mean? Like, it was weird, but it's just kind of an example of sometimes you have to ride a hard line, man. Like, you do, you can still be supportive, and you can still show up, like, not literally, but you could show up in that person's life to give them, like, the spark, like, hey, they're still, like, here, you know what I mean? You still got hope, like, hey, you know what I mean? I did it with him for a long time. But you gotta yank the pillow. You got to yank the pillow. And, my dad told me one time, this is the first time I went to this. I went there a couple times.
Shout out Jeff Grant.
Shout out Jeff Grant.
Shout out Jeff Grant.
OG Fogies. He told me he was bringing me to detox. And he told me, if you don't go to a program after this, a long-term program, and I didn't even know, nothing about any of that. You know what I mean? I'm never talking to you again. Stone cold to my face, man.
And that's the other end of the spectrum.
Oh, he's a heavy hitter.
Yeah.
He don't play games, man. But he'll still, you can call him and he'll still, show up in conversation and stuff. But, no, he's letting you know all about it.
Well, I think... I think you guys brought up some super good points, though. I think it's important that you can still be present, right? Mm-hmm. Can't be giving money.
You have to find that healthy balance.
You can't be giving money.
Yeah.
You can't be, in my opinion, you can't be giving a safe place like, oh, you can come lay your head here even though you're strung all the way out. You know what I mean? Because that's just open. You do that for me, you'll wake up in the morning, I won't be there, and neither will half of your
none of your stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it is a fine line, right?
But at the same time, you never, ever, ever think he's too far gone. Don't ever give up hope that he can make it back.
Of course. If people would have given up hope,
Right.
I wouldn't be here.
Right.
But you do got to have boundaries.
You have to have those boundaries.
I'll give you, I got a confession to make.
Oh, perfect.
So
I love good confessions.
when I was down in Port Charlotte, I did end up talking to my mom into letting me stay at that her all women's halfway house, and she snuck me. One of the females had an overnight, and she snuck me in, and I slept in this chick's room, and the next day I woke up. I went to this. I wasn't gonna go there because I was trying to follow the conversation, but this was an enabling moment. And I woke up and I went down to the corner store and bought 2 Four Locos, and they were like blue raspberry or something. And I drank them both, and I'd never drank these before, and I didn't know that they were so high impact. These things were dangerous. So I drank them both, and within 45 minutes, she had made friends with this. I think this lady used to live in the halfway house, and then now she lived in this house right down the street. They were renting or something, her and her old man. And I went down to their house, belligerent, and sprayed vomit all over their bathroom and into the hallway. And it was so, and that was a result of the pillow. You know what I mean? I literally got a pillow in the halfway. It was one of the, and then I ended up talking to our dad. I was like, I gotta get out of here. Where are you? I was like, I'm in Sarasota. And he's like, well, where? This, that, and the third. He wanted. I was like, wait, I'm in Port Charlotte. He's like, you don't even know where the fuck you are. Gone. You know what I mean? Now I'm just in the wind, dude. Completely. It was bad. But, yeah, no, she did. I manipulated my way right into an all-women's halfway house. And the chick ended up coming in the house the next morning. And I was like, scamper.
Crazy.
Corner store. It was, yeah, but there's an example of the wreckage of a pillow.
So, Marilyn, I wish we had a definitive answer for you. You just have to find that line in the sand. You know what I mean? You have to find what it is for you and your situation. And, there is no right answer.
What exactly was the question, though?
Her comment was, she's a mother. Her son is in active addiction. And she doesn't know. Basically, she's at a loss because she's helping him, but she feels like her helping is doing more harm than good. He is completely off the chain.
He's living under a bridge. She's bringing him snack packs.
Yeah,
which I get it.
Yeah, that's.
But it's to the point where, listen, when you can hear somebody's pain
Oh yeah.
through a comment, you know what I mean? I can only imagine what she's feeling and what she's going through.
Well, there's so many like you said, like imagine your kid, like let's say 15 years down the road, you know what I mean? And then you're going through all types of whirlwind of emotions, like what part of this is my fault? Like, you know what I mean? Should I let him come to the house again one last time? You know, he fucked that up last time, but you know what I mean? Maybe I'll let him slide in one more time. Like, I think she is in a balance. She's bringing him to packs.
Yeah.
She ain't letting him come to the pack. Like, well...
but it's to the point where she's frustrated enough to voice it, so it's obviously not... She's having troubles toting that line, you know what I mean? And I think she's just kind of looking... Well, first and foremost, you're not alone.
At all.
At all.
No.
Right?
And like I said, he's not as far gone as any of us have been.
Oh, I've been there. Been there. And so, you know, there is hope. And the most important thing, right, is whatever decision you make, you have to be able to live with it, right? I made that decision not to call my buddy that night, and he died. But I was in a place where I had to be okay with that decision. Because the reverse side of that is, let's say I called him, and he said, listen, man, I'm at it. Because he overdosed in a halfway house. If he would have called me and said, hey, I'm in a halfway house, can you shoot me $20 just to get some food? I would have done it. And then if he died.
Yeah.
Right? How I look at it and how I choose to look at it is it was easier for me to take the route that I did, right? Than essentially assist in him killing himself, right? Which is ultimately what happened, right? And I don't envy anybody that's in this position, right? I think that the more you talk about it, you know, because there are meetings for people who have family members or loved ones in active addiction. Which, if you want, you know, a link to, I'm not sure where you're located. If you don't have access to get that information,
I'll send the links to you.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll make sure you have that information because you're not alone, and it's important for you to know that you're not alone. And I think that the more you talk about it and the more you vocalize it, the more responses you get. You can take that information and kind of process it and move forward.
Take little nuggets, like Sonny said.
Love good nuggets. You know what I mean?
Nugget in the pocket.
So with that, another hour and 12 minutes in, just like that.
Boom.
Sugar Studios.
Sugar Studios, heavy hitting content.
He doesn't know how this ends.
I do.
He does.
I do.
How do you feel about
And he's
that?
got 3 slipped vertebrae.
I herniated disc wreckage of the past. I fell out of a tree.
Hey, listen. One thing's for sure, two things for certain. You better figure it out.
I'm not happy
This
about
is
it, bro.
Wood edge.
I'm not
It's a
happy
wooden
about
edge.
it. He's going, dude.
Now?
He's going. He's going. God.
Why are you looking at me like that, though? I can't.
Oh, I pinched my finger.
This was a mistake.
I'm stuck.